Get ready.
It's going to be a very, very intense journey.
Screenshot.
What's going on, everybody? And welcome to episode 152 of the Frameskip podcast. Seth just signed his own brain if you're watching the video of the show. I am Andie Eller. Glad to be here. Glad to be recording, streaming, chatting with two fellas. We're missing a third
Party's
fella
all here. Bang's all here.
Okay.
Better men have died.
George from Shortbox Summary, he's not here. He was stung by 6,000 bees, and so he's recovering in the hospital. But we do have the coach.
Walks.
Yeah, that's right. We do have the coach, Kyle Newman. What's going on, Coach?
Almost out of this summer, but it's summer every freaking day here in Cuba. So, yeah.
Oh my God.
Cuba, yes, it's hot. Like, it's crazy because
Do we terminate?
no, it's all right. So what's crazy is on the island, there are thunderclouds every single day, except for the area that we live in. There's this high pressure and there's not a cloud above us. So the heat is just like, it's just like, oh my God, are you kidding me? You can see the lightning in the distance and you're like, those lucky bastards, man. But the last 4 days, all I did was stay inside where it's nice and cold.
Nice. Love it.
Pretty much what I do also.
Love it. Yeah, Seth's lake house over here. He lives in a cold state. How's it feel to be cold up there?
It's starting to get real fall up here, buddy. Real fall. We put our Halloween decorations up tonight. That's what we did. We put the big giant inflatable. We have a big giant inflatable Toothless the Dragon. It's 7 feet tall. We put it in my front yard.
Nice.
Put my spooky ghosts up. Caitlin's really pressuring me to get the 30-foot skeleton from Home Depot, and I would like that, but that is like 5 or 10 feet taller than my house, and I don't know that is visually aesthetically pleasing. You know, it's 30 feet. It's 30 feet tall. It's a skeleton.
Do you have an HOA?
No, hell
Okay,
no.
very good.
I wouldn't buy a house in some communist area like an HOA. My sister has it. Do you have an HOA, Austin?
Sadly, we do.
Oh my God. You got to rise up. Rise up.
These commies.
Dude, one of my favorite pastimes
Aaron
is
alert. Aaron alert.
yeah, watching like HOA meetings. There was this one that I crack up every time, dude. There's so much drama with homeowners association meetings on YouTube. The one, this old guy screams in the back of the crowd. He's like, I fought in Vietnam and I'll fight you too. And I'm like, yeah, that is awesome.
Seth, I have a question for you.
Yeah, what's up?
Wasn't it like 45 in the morning for you guys, like degrees? Because I heard the Northeast got like a chill.
We did.
It's crisp.
Yeah, it's nice, beautiful.
I saw that in the news. I'm like,
Tonight it's gonna get down to 50.
see, that's sweater weather, baby.
Oh no, you were right. Last night it was 46 at night.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's still pretty warm here. I think it is getting lower at night, but I think it's like mid 50s still. Today the high was 88. So
See,
You guys brought up the George getting stung by 6,000 bees.
yeah.
Someone
which
at
is a true
my
thing.
job. Yeah, unfortunately, he died. Someone at my job
died.
asked me if I would rather fight 1,000 chicken-sized horses or one horse-sized chicken. And what do you guys think? I think the answer is painfully clear.
1,000
I do the
chicken
one
size.
horse-sized chicken.
Oh my God.
Really?
I think that's
like a
I think that's
dinosaur.
the
When you
worst
play
decision.
Ocarina of Time
Yeah, that's a-
and you
that's a-
like
that's a
kill
legitimate
some
dinosaur.
chickens, what happens? They come at you every direction, man, and you can't even get away from them.
I legitimately think I could kill 1,000 chicken-sized horses.
Well-
I'm pretty. Horses have no fighting abilities.
That's what I was gonna say.
Bite me.
So you got this giant chicken that could just easily like snap your head off with its beak.
Yeah, that's a dragon fight. You're in the fight of your life.
Or you have these little horses. What are they gonna do? Like kick you with their little 1-2 inch long feet?
We have
what?
lightsabers.
No, you got your bare hands, dude. And you're like, I'm just like rolling through these things like punting them. I'm pretty confident I can kill 1,000 chicken-sized horses.
I feel like I could do a lucha libre move and rep out one of its legs.
I see.
And then quickly get back out and then see what happens, and then jump behind it and just choke it and have it tap out.
So let me ask you this: what do you think your odds are against an ostrich?
That's like a modern day velociraptor, man. I don't
Yeah,
think they're
exactly. Exactly. A chicken's like a lot more scarier at full size. They like legitimate beaks.
And they have those big claws.
Yeah.
They have like their feet are pretty crazy. So I don't know.
I'm telling you.
I don't know about that.
I think it's an easy decision. Get a knight.
I agree.
Get like a set of armor and a shield and a sword because you're fighting a dragon.
You said bare hands.
I know, but like legitimately, that's a dragon. You're fighting a dragon. So
if I had the Force and I was as good as Anakin, I could take out the chicken.
Yeah, man. So yeah, me too.
Well, on that happy note, so I'm just gonna say Coach would die if he fought a horse-sized chicken.
I think there's only one decision there. I think it's obvious.
Yeah, it's been a couple of weeks since we did a show. So, Seth, what's been going on with you in that time frame?
Not much, man. I did become the Kaseki King. I did beat Pedro's ass into the dirt.
Good. Good.
Pedro, cold steel.
Yep. Pedro, if you're watching, I wasn't prepared. Eat shit.
Go play Concord, Pedro.
Yeah, go play Concord, Pedro. And then after that, I got really into 3D printing. I 3D printed this gigantic orc statue.
Wow.
Pretty big. Pretty cool.
What's behind it?
Me.
No, behind it.
That's a goblin. He's got a cannon arm, and the goblin has cannonballs and a pack of cannonballs.
Nice.
I got cannonballs.
Yeah. So at some point, me and Caitlin will be painting this and displaying it. So after I printed that, I didn't know what I was gonna print next. So this 3D printer's just been set up in my garage, just chilling. But since I beat Pedro's ass in the Kaseki race, I wanted to play something a little different. I jumped back into Hogwarts Legacy. I was feeling a little fall vibe coming back in. I jumped back into Hogwarts Legacy. Gave it about 25 hours. I'm done with that game. I'm done. Dude, it has the most one-dimensional side characters and story I've ever played in a game. The world that they built, if you want to like go explore like the Hogwarts castle or like that area and like have fun, that is the perfect game for that. But it's just so clear to me that all their resources went into building the castle and the world, and none of it went into the story or the characters or the writing. It's just so boring, dude. Like there's no hook there to keep you going. Once you get sick of like running around and casting Leviosa on the cats or whatever, like there's nothing to keep you around. I find the story like painfully boring, you know. And then the characters, like you got the edgy brooding one, then you got like the cutesy animal lover, and then you got like the goofy one, and like that's all they are. That is as far as their stories go, you know. So I don't know. It wasn't really drawing me in. So I jumped to Baldur's Gate 3 then. I started a new playthrough of Baldur's Gate 3. I'm about 25 hours into that. Having a blast. That was the correct move. I love Baldur's Gate 3. It's a perfect game in my opinion. There's nothing wrong with that game.
Do you play on your Steam Deck or?
No. I've been
PS5?
playing this new. I have it on both Steam and PS5, but I've been playing this one on PS5. So
that's a game.
Baldur's Gate 3 is good.
Our last episode was the one, I think, where we did the might have been the episode prior, the best games you've never played. Can't remember if that was the last episode. But that was one that I had thought about putting on that list but I decided not to just because it was so new. But yeah, I'm dying to play that game at some point. I just haven't, sat down and tried it out, but it looks phenomenal.
It's a great co-op game for you and Andy to play.
Yeah.
That'd be really fun. Me and Caitlin had a blast playing it.
Does it have online co-op?
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
Yep.
I'll look into
players.
it. Very cool. So I was going to ask you before we go any further, because you brought up obviously your righteous Kaseki King nature. I think it was Alden last week commented on one of the shows or sent us something on Twitter somewhere asking for your thoughts on the Trails of the Sky remake? Is that what it is?
Trails in the Sky. Yep, the first game. It looks gorgeous, dude. It looks really, really good. I cannot believe that they made it look that good, to be honest. And I'm pretty sure Falcom has made a pact with the devil and sold their soul, because they're just pumping out these games like crazy, dude. And so now they're putting out the remake next year, and also the 11th game in the series. So we're like, and these games are massive. I have no idea how they're doing it. They're a team of like 60 people. It's crazy. So, and the writing in these games are phenomenal. But it's weird to me because I personally don't feel like those games need a remake. They aren't 3D games. They are 2D RPGs, and I think they've aged very gracefully. But it is really cool to see them line up with the rest of the games in the series. And it makes me wonder if they're doing it because future games in the series are going to go back to that continent, because what they do in Falcom in order to speed the process along is once they create a landscape and like a town or whatnot, they'll use it over and over again. They'll come back to it. So if
Okay, we are now back. Can you guys see me?
Yep. I can see you, and your lips are moving. And
well, if anybody's watching, sorry about that. I was streaming, of course, and my OBS decided to crash out of nowhere, and I've never had that happen in the many episodes of the show that have ever been recorded. So I can't remember what we were talking about.
I was giving my opinions on Trails in the Sky. We don't need to linger on it. I think it looks gorgeous. I'm really happy they're doing it. I just, like I said, think that Falcom made a deal with the devil to get all this video game development.
Yeah, for sure. So, okay. Coach, what have you been up to the past couple weeks here?
Trying to find a game to play. Have you ever been in that mode where you're just playing different things and you're trying to get that hook and you don't get it?
Yeah. I'm kind of in that right now.
Yeah. But I got it. I got the hook. And I wasn't going to say anything, Seth, because I wanted to surprise you. But I'm still in the early stages, but I'm playing the original. We're just watching you, bro.
Seth's lighting his room on fire. Okay.
Started playing the original Final Fantasy VII. And really into it. Yeah, and really into it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Nice.
So I started that this weekend. So I'm at the part, like I said, I'm still in the beginning where it's after he crashes through the church, and then he meets up with the girl.
Aerith.
Huh?
Aerith.
Yeah, Aerith. And then sneaking out of the house was such a pain in the ass. Oh my God, it took me forever.
You gotta make sure you don't hit anything.
Right. So I think my main concern, well, not concern, but one thing that I'm going to really focus on is the materia, right? Because you have the main materia and then you have it below. So I'm kind of still learning about materia.
Well, you can put materia in your armor and your weapons. If you put elemental materia in your weapons, it'll give it that effect and also teach you the spell, obviously. If you put a fire materia in your armor, it'll give you fire resistance and also teach you the fire spell. Oh,
really? See? How are you supposed to know that? If it wasn't for you.
I mean, this is how this early RPG like systems were. Like you just had to experiment and like figure it out.
Right. So if I have a weapon and I have lightning attached to it, when I hit, it will have that property.
Mhm.
And then I know and that's what I did, right? I put it to I had lightning and then
Oh no, you know what, Coach? I'm sorry, I lied. I just lied to you. I was wrong about this. In the original Final Fantasy VII, you have to have the elemental materia attached to it in order for that to be true.
okay.
If you just put the fire materia on your weapons or armor, it will teach you the fire spell and it'll affect your stats, but it won't add that. It won't add the fire ability to your armor or weapons unless you have what's called the elemental materia linked to it in the slot.
So what I did is at the beginning with Tifa, she was my healer, right? For the little bit of time that I had with her. So, and also she had that and all, right? So when she healed, everyone got healed. So I'm still learning about that. But you know what? I have it on, I'm playing it on my Xbox and it looks so clean. Like it's just, I'm so excited to play it. Like I'm finally like, it finally has its teeth in.
It's really good. And I think getting from Sector 6 back to Sector 7 is kind of like a low point in the game, especially in the beginning. But dude, that opening 10 hours or so in Midgar is so iconic. It's such a legendary opening to a video game because after the whole Midgar portion, you're presented with just this gigantic world map that you walk out and you're like, well, where do I go now? And it's like a really impressive experience, especially through the lens of 1997. I think it came out, where you get out of Midgar and you're just like, oh my God, like this is crazy. And you're just walking around, and other Final Fantasy games had that experience, right? But never in the 3D space. So like, I think Final Fantasy VII is really impressive because it's really like the first big 3D RPG that was ever made. So when you look at it through that lens, everything is more impressive, and it's just a legendary game. I'm really excited for you to play through it. I think you're gonna have a blast.
And I mean, I'm just enjoying like playing it for the first time, right? Enjoying everything new about it. So, because back then, in the late '90s, the two biggest games were Final Fantasy VII and Ocarina of Time, right? Mm-hmm. Those are the two huge like fantasy games that were console. So
yeah, don't try not to get frustrated. And if you need to look up a guide, especially like when you get to Wall Market to figure out how to do stuff, do it, because people get stuck in Wall Market for hours and it's a really confusing line of events.
I'm there now. That's between 6 and 7, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So I just got there. So I did the save and so that's where I'm at. So I'm about to go hit up all the different stores. So
that's a game I need to go back and play through as well at some point, because I've gotten I don't even know how far I would have gotten into the game. I know I got to some like canyon or something at some point, like a
Cosmo Canyon. Oh, you're pretty far in.
Yeah, I think I had played like at least 25 hours, I think 25 hours. So that was years ago.
Cosmo Canyon is like where a lot of the secrets are revealed, and you get like all right, here's the mission we're on for the rest of the game. Like they tell you tell you like the deep backstory of the planet and stuff. That's a really cool cutscene too.
And then I also put dev mode on the Series S. And then I installed a couple emulators. I installed the PSP. So I eventually could play Crisis Core. And then the DS, so I could play the DS version of Chrono Trigger. So I think I'm going to stay. Yeah, go ahead.
Crisis Core got like a complete remake. That's like
yeah, but I want to play the originals first.
Well, the Crisis Core remake isn't like the Final Fantasy VII remake. The Crisis Core remake is like a straight up. They just it's a 1-to-1 remake.
Oh, okay.
And it plays really good. So I just wanted to make sure you knew that.
Oh wow, I thought it was its own.
It's very confusing. I know.
Yeah, but the 7 remake is, but the Crisis Core, and it does look really pretty compared to the original.
Crisis Core remake's really good.
Yeah,
they updated the voice acting and whatnot. So
cool, very cool. Well, as for me, I think since last time I beat Mario RPG, which was a blast. I was playing, of course, the remake on Switch and absolutely loved it. It was so refreshing. Great writing in that game, and just simple little RPG, nothing too challenging, except for freaking Culex, which is this hidden boss in one of the towns, and holy crap. You go in this doorway, and it's I guess I'm spoiling this game for people that never played it, but you go in this doorway and he's like, yeah, I'm this Final Fantasy boss. He's not actually from Final Fantasy, but he looks like one. And he's like pixel art, and he's talking about how he's invaded the Mario RPG universe and he's going to like destroy you. And sure enough, he destroyed me. All right. So I just kind of gave up on him. I did not even attempt to finish him up, but I did most of the game.
Final Fantasy hidden bosses are like historically hard.
Yeah. I loved it though. I thoroughly enjoyed that game. The only thing I'll say, and I really realized this toward the end when you get to the cloud area, the Nimbus land, the platforming in that game is bad. It's really bad. There are some spots where I just struggled over and over and over again to make jumps and do different things. There's a part in the cloud area. There's a part where you have to climb up these vines.
Oh yeah,
and
that was.
I just kept falling over and over and over, and it was not a good time. So, but certainly a product of its time. I know they wanted to include platforming because it's a Mario game, even though it's deep down an RPG. But that was not my favorite part of that game. So, but aside from that, not a whole lot else going on. I'm kind of what Coach was going through. I'm still going through it, trying to figure out what I want to play right now. I've been kind of fixated on two games. I jumped back into Animal Crossing New Horizons because I just needed something like easy that I could jump in and out of for a few minutes each day, and been enjoying that. And then actually the other game I've been playing a little more than Animal Crossing is I decided to go back to Tears of the Kingdom, which I never beat. And I've said on this podcast a few times that it just never clicked with me fully. I played like 65 hours of it, 70 hours of it when it came out last year. And I just felt like I was forcing it down my throat. And
for 70 hours, I would say.
Yeah. But like as a huge Zelda fan, I'm like, I feel like I have to enjoy this. And so I really didn't enjoy my time when I first played it, but going back to it now, just kind of playing it here and there and going and doing the shrines and exploring a little bit by little bit, I'm enjoying it a lot more that way. I feel like at launch, I was trying to just rush through it to try and reach the end along with everybody else. And I'm liking it a little more this time around. So we'll see if I beat it, but Astro Bot comes out in 3 days. And once that's out, that's going to take my focus. So I'll probably dip off.
I think for me, when I started my Tears of the Kingdom run, I enjoyed every inch of Hyrule. Like I enjoyed just exploring, seeing the old things, because it's still Breath of the Wild, right? Like that whole area is just maybe 3-4 years, but it was for me, it was a special experience. Like because I put so many hours of Breath of the Wild when I was in Saudi Arabia, right? Because I had the time to do that. And then when this came out last spring, oh man, it was just it was amazing. So the best part, like, have you gotten really into forging weapons and building? Yeah. That's one of my favorant parts.
Yeah, and I do like that. I do like that stuff. I'm still not a huge fan of the building. Like, it's kind of that Minecraft effect for me where I want them to, like, hand the cars to me. I really don't want to sit there, like, building all this crap. But I know other people feel otherwise and love that. That's still my least favorite part. And I will say, I still think, in my opinion at least, the underground stuff is just terrible. I absolutely hate the underground stuff.
Really?
Because there's just nothing down there. It's just like dark, and it's not like the overworld where you're like climbing up mountains and finding all this interesting stuff. It's just it sucks. I don't know. I don't enjoy being down there. There's nothing to find down there except for these hard ass enemies.
And then just all of the old buildings. Usually you could find good weapons, good armor. I go down there for the weapons, especially once you get the scimitar.
Yeah. I mean, there's good items and stuff.
Yeah.
There's good items and stuff down there. It's just the reason I love Breath of the Wild when it came out was you could, see something off in the distance and go find it. But when you're in the cave down below, it's just absolute darkness and you have no idea what you're wandering into at any time. And it just doesn't work for me. But I still vastly prefer Breath of the Wild to this game, but I'm enjoying it a little more now, kind of just, like I said, taking it little by little. So I don't think I'm going to beat it right now because when Astrobot comes out, I'm dropping everything for that game, which I'm so freaking excited for. I pre-ordered it last night.
I'm so excited for Astrobot, dude.
Dude, did you go back?
I gotta wait.
Did you go back and get the extra bots in Astro's Playroom?
No, I didn't know there was extra bots.
So they added this free update a month or two ago, and you can go. I think there are 4 bots that you can go find in the PS5 one that came out, that free game, Playroom. I think it's Playroom.
Yeah.
You go find these 4 bots, and when you find them, it saves, and then you can bring those into the game, like the full game when it comes out Friday. So
I really wanted that
is
controller, but I just
it's 60.
I thought it was
a controller.
Oh, dude, look at the controller. The controller is
awesome.
So good.
Yeah.
If I hadn't just bought 2 new controllers, I'd buy the controller. But I can't justify buying a controller just because I don't need one. Maybe someday I can find another one. How about that Concord controller, though, eh?
Speaking of Concord, yeah. So now we're here. We're at the time to talk about Concord.
Like how I did that.
I love it. I
Threw
love
that
it.
fishing line
I
out
will
to
say
you.
this. I will say this. That controller actually looks pretty decent. I actually don't think it looks too bad. I like it. But man, thinking about this now, so they're unreleasing Concord, and we'll go into more detail here in a second. But thinking about that now, that's a little awkward. There's people that bought this controller for this game that won't exist anymore.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, not that many people.
That's true. Probably 5 or 6. So, all right. So if you have not heard, this is just a quick little rundown of what's happened here. So Concord, of course, I wouldn't be surprised if you have not heard of this game because not many people have played it or purchased it. But it was is a hero shooter in the vein of Overwatch that Sony has published in partnership with. Gosh, now I'm failing to remember the name of the dev. Well, I'll get to that in a minute.
Firewalk?
Yeah, I think you're right. Firewalk. And Firewalk was a studio they purchased or put together at some point. I can't remember.
They purchased Firewalk.
Yeah, I know there was one that they put together and one that they purchased. So they purchased Firewalk, and this game apparently has been in development for 8 years, reportedly. That's going back to 2016. That is the same year that Overwatch 1 released, so that kind of puts things in perspective. And it came out like a week and a half ago, and just
approximately $200 million budget.
Yeah, $200 million budget. Had one of the worst launches of all time for like a major first-party published title, and this was on both Steam, the Epic Store on PC, and on PS5. The Steam charts, I just checked this earlier. The Steam charts site, which shows like how many concurrent players there are and what the peak players were, shows that Concord has had on Steam specifically, so who knows about PlayStation, but on Steam has had an all-time peak on Steam of 660 players simultaneously. Which
isn't that nuts?
Which this is maybe not the best comparison, but when you look at Helldivers 2, which is another Sony published title that came out earlier this year, which was just massive, had a peak of 458,000 players. So, game came out at $40, by the way, I should point out, which it's just a hero shooter, just like Overwatch. There's no single player, just a straight up online multiplayer Overwatch-esque game. And now today, this is Tuesday, the 3rd here of September, Sony announced that they're refunding all purchases of the game, digital refunds. And then if you bought the game in store, you can take it back to the store and get a full refund as well. And in this blog post, which I pulled up, it is Firewalk, Ryan Ellis is the director of the game. They don't really say what they're going to do. Obviously, they're not going to sell the game anymore. They're taking it off the PlayStation Store, and they are going to shut down the servers. So there will be no way to play this game or own this game or purchase this game at any point moving forward. They're a little vague about what they're planning to do with it. If it's just like, that's it, no more Concord, or if it's going to come back. They do say they will explore options, including those that will better reach our players. That's a quote from Ryan Ellis there on the PlayStation blog. I don't think anything is going to better reach the players. I mean, if it doesn't work the first time, is it going to work a second time? That's my question. Right. But I've just, on a grand scale, you know, I will say that it's sad to see this happen because so many people worked on this game. And it does happen to many games. You know, there for every Concord, there's a Helldivers, and for every Helldivers, there's a game like Battleborn or Evolve. I mean, we've certainly seen them before, but this is the first time in my recollection that I've seen a game get unreleased.
This is a catastrophic type of failure. Though this isn't like a Battleborn. This is like, this is catastrophic. I know, you know, if I cost my company $200 million, I would be fired. So it does suck that there's people that are probably going to be fired, but at the same time, I'm like, well, I would be fired as well if I cost my company this much money, you know? I'm sure, Coach, if you broke a $200 million piece of machinery for the military, they'd probably reprimand you in some way. You know, I don't know. $200 million military item is like a toy boat or something. They cost... I don't know how much they spent on crazy amounts of machinery, but I'm sure, Austin, the same thing is with you, right? If you cost your company $200 million, you know, it is what it is. And, you know, yeah, these guys probably worked really hard on Concord, but they made something that people didn't want. They made something that like was a complete failure right out the gate. Because instead of, you know, there's the indie space is for passion projects, right? Yeah. When you get up to working for multi-billion-dollar corporations, you have to design products with target audiences in mind. And the target audience for this game was a very small amount of people that are very loud about stuff and that don't spend money. And this has been the case over and over and over again. Look at that Dustborn game that just came out. You know, it's like, yeah, it's the same type of situation. There's nothing appealing about this game that makes it more appealing or that they're going to pull people away from, you know, Overwatch or Apex Legends, you know, like, or Fortnite. These people have these games. They love these games. And if you want to pull them away from them, you got to pull them away with like something that's better than those games. The character designs in Concord are ass ugly. It looks like someone put a bunch of possums in a bag and kicked the shit out of them, and then like that they took a picture. That's what these characters look like, you know? They're terrible. And there's nothing appealing about Concord. And that's why it failed. And I think Sony probably knew pretty quick that this game was going to be a failure, but it speaks volumes that they're just being like, we got to cut the cord on this thing, because the more time we spend, the more money we spend on this game is the bigger loss is going to make. This is like a DEFCON 5 type of moment, you know? So that's all I got to say about it.
And it's a huge blunder. I mean, in every shape and form, you know, it's not just like the game itself. I mean, the executives should have known, again, that releasing this hero shooter for $40 in 2024. I mean, if people want to play a hero shooter, they're going to go play Overwatch, or they're going to play even that new Marvel game that's coming out, the Marvel hero shooter that's free.
Team Fortress 2.
Team Fortress 2, right?
Yeah.
But free, and you know what? Maybe.
I think it is now. Yeah.
I think that Marvel Rivals game is a great comparison, Austin, because that is a franchise that people are extremely sick of. People are tired of Marvel right now. Everyone's getting sick of it. Their movies are starting to go down in profits. But that movie's coming out, or that game came out, or the open open alpha or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And it got really, really good feedback. And people were really excited for it because it's a great game with appealing characters that people want to play. And that just goes to show you like how far art design will go in a video game. And, this is just doesn't have it. This even from like the opening trailer, it feels like a game that's trying to be Guardians of the Galaxy, but not as interesting. And it just like copies and follows trends and has nothing original about it. That's how I felt about when I saw Concord.
Coach, I'm gonna throw some shade at your age here. I really think the only thing that is possibly comparable to the situation is E.T. on the Atari 2600.
Right.
And I'm not to a console standpoint. This is not going to destroy Sony or anything like that. But when you just look at what happened to that game, where it came out, all these cartridges came out, and then they just dumped them all in a landfill. That same thing's going to happen here because now all these stores have this game that they can't sell. The only thing they're going to be able to do is literally throw them in the trash.
Yep.
So publishers now are really going to have to think about if they want to make a hero shooter or a service type game, right? Like what Rocksteady did. What are they going to do that's going to be able to sell, and not make the company look bad? Because right now, I don't know if Sony looks bad because they have so much stuff, that they're going to be able to release. And they're doing the right thing by pulling it out and giving people refunds.
Yeah.
But other companies will stick to their game. And I think that's the sign of the times now. Like, you really have to be careful. If you're going to go all in on a big game, you have to know what you're doing and your target audience and will it sell?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, this live service model reminds me very much of the MMO games back in the day, right? Everyone wanted to make an MMO because of the success of World of Warcraft. And then each one that came out got less and less successful. And then we have WildStar at the bottom, right? Which they closed their doors after like 18 months. Concord, we're at the Concord moment right now, right? Except we've had multiple failures, and they just kept trying because of a massive amount of profit that you can get from these live service games. Now Concord comes out, and hopefully this puts the brakes on like the live service games. I know Sony had like a bunch of them that they were making, like the Spider-Man. There's supposed to be a Spider-Man live service game that got leaked, and they canceled that.
Yeah.
So hopefully now people are going to be like, whoa, after Suicide Squad and Concord, maybe we should not do this, Hopefully.
I think they have to get lucky this day and age to have a really successful live service. I mean, Helldivers 2 is certainly the exception. And I'm sure people were looking forward to Helldivers 2 as I was before it came out, but I don't think anybody was expecting it to be like the top selling game of the year. So, there's definitely some luck involved, but yeah, I don't know, man. Like, the marketing for this game just did not work. And I will say I've heard the game itself, actually. I never played the beta. Obviously, I didn't purchase it, but I've heard the game itself was pretty good.
Like the gameplay, yeah, I've heard that.
Right. But, gosh, I mean, it feels so late, Like, I think the Marvel, and I'm forgetting the name of that game. I think the Marvel thing works because it is an established IP, and it's a unique take on that IP. If you look at that game, as I'm sure you have, Seth, the character designs are excellent.
Yeah.
Really unique takes on all those Marvel superheroes, like really completely different from the comics and really stylized. They look phenomenal. So I think that's part of why that worked. But I just feel like maybe this game would have clicked in 2015, 2016, 2017. But for $40 in 2024, I just don't know who thought this was going to work the way they thought it would. And then to that same extent, they pushed it like crazy. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was getting, YouTube ads constantly for this game, and just ads everywhere on my Instagram and social media platforms. And what's sad to me is, and again, no knock on these devs because they've been working on this game for 8 years, and I do feel bad for the people deep down that were involved with the real development side. But I feel really bad, frankly, for the Astrobot team because that game comes out in 3 days, and it's really not gotten a push. It's just been this Concord marketing for 2 months.
Oh, dude. But Astrobot doesn't need a push. Astrobot, I have a really strong suspicion is going to kill. I really
hope
feel
so,
like that,
dude.
because
I really hope so.
Because they released Playroom with PS5 for free, and it was a blast. Everyone loved it. And this new game coming out, when people figure out like, oh, another one of them is coming out, like definitely I'm going to buy that.
Yeah.
So I
And
think
remember,
Astrobot's
we're
gonna go.
in that time period of games during Black Friday, right? So we're in that September time frame where those games that will get pushed, like Astrobot will definitely get pushed. And like Seth said, I don't think it needs a lot. People that know it will play it because it was free. Everybody who has a PS5 has it.
Yeah.
So really good.
Yeah.
I hope so, man. And like I said earlier, not to go off on Astrobot, but that's the first time I've pre-ordered a game digitally in a long time. Like, I don't even care what the score is. I just want to support that team. Like, the first game was so good, and I never played the PSVR one, but I heard that was great too. And yeah, so I'm excited for that. But yeah, I don't know, man. This whole situation's crazy. I'm curious to see what they do with Concord moving forward. I feel like there's no way they're going to just eat the cost. Like, I feel like it's not just going to disappear into the ether. I'd be a little surprised if they do that. I feel like it has to come back as free to play, right?
I mean, I don't know, because I think Sony is probably sitting there trying to figure that decision out right now. They're probably looking at their telemetry and being like, wow, if this, like, $40 isn't that big of a barrier, you know, like $40 is like two lunches.
That's what Helldivers was,
you know? So if you're looking at this and you're like, man, people really don't want to play this game. Do we really want to eat millions more dollars, like redesigning this thing and then trying to support it as a free to play title with all the personnel and whatnot? I don't know, man. With these low numbers, like this amount of like people are actually interested in playing this game. If I was them, I'd probably we probably just need to cut our losses and run, you know?
Yeah.
Take the L this year and cut our losses and run, because they might just be in a money pit at this point.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I suppose we'll see what happens. But yeah, I mean, this is totally unprecedented in my opinion. I can't think of another time where something like this has happened. And I was thinking about Cyberpunk, which that game was pulled off the PlayStation Store, but I think it was just the PlayStation Store, and they committed to fixing it.
But it's a good game now. Like,
yeah, it is. It's a phenomenal game.
Yes, phenomenal. Once it got
I was just gonna say that's the difference, though, is that like Cyberpunk wasn't a good game on release. It was a mess. Concord, by all intents, is complete, and apparently it's fun to play. It's a good gameplay game. It's just no one
didn't
wants
interest
it.
people. Yeah.
It's just it's the ugly stepchild. Like, get out of here, you know? We don't want you here. So I don't know, man. They would have, in my opinion, they would have to make a drastic change to Concord, like give it like a campaign or something, which again, that's a lot of money. You're going to sink into this for what might not pay off. And I don't know if Sony wants to play that game. Give it away for free in like a demo disc.
So I still think the funniest thing, and I didn't realize this until late this afternoon, so at Summer Games Fest, I think it was, or no, maybe it was Gamescom, like a couple weeks ago. Jeff Keighley's show, at that show, the gosh, what's his name? The guy that directed Deadpool, the first one. Can't think of the guy's name, but he's making this like anthology show called Secret Level, and it's going to be on Amazon Prime.
Oh, yeah.
And it's going to have
really
like
cool
episodes. It's like 10 episodes, and each episode's going to be based on a different video game. So Like one is on Sifu, and there's another one on like Armored
Warhammer.
Core that's going to have Keanu Reeves in it. Yeah, Warhammer. And then one of them, I believe it's just one episode, but it's just a generic like PlayStation one. So there are going to be a few different properties in it. But in that trailer for Secret Levels, they show that Concord is going to be one of the featured episodes, or in one of the featured episodes. So now these poor animators that have worked on this show, which looks beautiful, by the way, they're going to have to just throw all that in the trash.
Yep.
We got time, so.
Yeah, true. So, well, anything else you guys want to add on with that, or with even Astrobot, since we kind of referenced it here and there?
Well, I mean, I don't know anything about Astrobot. I've been saying spoiler free. I just know once I saw that was announced, I was like, I'm in. Yeah, that's all I need to know. Tell me Astrobot's back, I'm back. As far as Concord, though, no, I think that game hopefully changes the trend of these companies trying to just chase soulless, empty projects for dollars. That's all I can say, because you ruined Rocksteady doing this, and now we got another team that is probably on their way out, right? I wouldn't be surprised if Rocksteady got disbanded at the end of this whole Suicide Squad debacle.
Which, by the way, that came out yesterday, that they cut like a lot of their staff. I think it was like half of their staff or something lost their jobs.
Yep.
So
WB, dude, how incompetent is WB? Right? They sell the #1 best-selling game last year in Hogwarts Legacy.
Oh, okay.
And they're like, all right. So, and then they lost a ton of money on Suicide Squad, right? And then they're like, all right, so
And
we're going to
Gotham,
double
right?
down. And what?
In that other game, remember
oh,
WB
Gotham
Montreal?
Knights.
Yeah, Gotham Knights.
Yeah. They're like, we're gonna double down on live service games. Hey man, you made the #1 best-selling single-player game last year. You made a ton of money on it. Maybe follow that path to success instead of what everyone else is doing, that everyone else is failing at. Dude, a couple games have made a ton of money, right? And that ton of money is coming from the people that play those kind of games. They don't want to move. How hard is it for executives to just recognize the reality, dude? I'm telling you, everything gets messy when you start adding in executives and taking creative control away from people. Concord reeks of like dumb executives that don't know the actual market, that are just following trends on a spreadsheet. And like, I mean, I feel like any three of us could have looked at Concord 2 years ago and been like, this isn't going to work. You know, as soon as Anthem started dying. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, man. This is easy stuff. This is, put me in some of these chairs. I can make brainless decisions.
And remember like 3-4 years ago when Rocksteady announced Suicide Squad? Like so early, right? Way early in development. If we would have seen that then, we would have been like, no, that ain't gonna work. And you play to the strength of your developer.
Yeah.
Rocksteady is an Arkham developer. I mean, like single player, badass type of games, and they learned a lesson that's going to cost them a lot of money, you know. And they left the core of the character on some of the characters. So, like Miss Freeze, I think there is the.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Jeez, I forgot about that.
Oh, that
like,
character is so awful.
Coach, this is slightly related, but I brought it up to you a couple weeks ago. Did you ever watch that trailer for the Arkham VR game?
I did.
It actually looks pretty decent, I think.
Yeah, it does. I'm just like, why are they wasting their talents on?
Yeah.
And again, not a lot of people are going to be playing that, right?
No.
I mean, like, there's going to be people that are going to play it because they got the PSVR 2 or whatever, you know. But still, it's like, just let them do what they do best.
After a catastrophic failure like Suicide Squad, I think you need to give a franchise some space and just be like, all right, like we need to let people forget about that.
Yep.
Hey, here's Arkham City. Remember how great this was? We re-released that. Remember that you love this series, you know? That's
We're
what
bringing back
you need to kinda
Arkham
remind
Origins to
people.
modern consoles for the first time.
Yeah. Or here's the Arkham trilogy, and oh hey, by the way, we're making a prequel to that. Wouldn't you love that? Come on.
Too true.
Hey,
true.
here's Dick Grayson as Robin in a prequel game. Wouldn't that be fun? That's the kind of shit you need. Hey, Rocksteady, that's a freebie. Next one you got to charge me for. I'm gonna charge you for.
I've always wanted a Oliver Queen movie.
See, the issue with that is that no wonder I'm tripping on myself. The issue with that is,
I mean, not movie. Sorry.
We got that Arrow TV show, which made Oliver Queen Batman and gave him all of Batman's enemies, right? Like Ra's al Ghul was like one of his like top enemies, and now that's the Green Arrow that everyone has in their head because Green Arrow was not a popular character before the Arrow TV show came out. So I'll be honest, I've read comics for most of my whole life. I couldn't name you one single Green Arrow villain. Could you name one, Coach? Because I can't think of one. It's like Green Arrow was a cool character, but I think he works best as a side character, like a surprise jump-in character.
Yeah.
Like a first-person game with his bow and arrow. You know.
Oh yeah, definitely for sure.
So, but yeah.
All right,
leave your
guys.
strengths and do something different, and try and make money. You're gonna get burned. So
Sure.
This is that.
We'll see what happens. Just on that note, we'll see what happens with Playground Games and Fable, because that's a huge departure from what they've done, having worked on Forza Horizon, and now they're suddenly jumping to a open world RPG. So
Number one Fable hater right here.
But the first one's good, right? The first
one's
good.
amazing. It's one of my favorite games of all time.
I need to play it.
Did that get a remake on the 360?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The first one?
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Well, guys, on that note, anything else you'd like to add? Any final words?
48
I don't think
hours,
so.
NFL starts.
There you go.
10
How about
hours,
it?
my day shift starts.
Enjoy.
Thanks, buddy.
All right, everyone. Well, thanks for watching, listening, reading, whatever it may be. Until next time, we'll see you.
Peace out.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Frameskip. Don't forget you can find the show on social media at FrameSkipPod. That's on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can also follow us each individually on Twitter. George is at Shortbox Summary, Seth is at Seth the 90s Kid, and I, Austin Eller, am at Austin J. Eller on Twitter. If you've got a question, comment, or topic you'd like to hear discussed on the next episode of Frameskip, you can do so by submitting it to us on social media. Email us at frameskippodcast@gmail.com or visit bit.ly/frameskipq. That's bit.ly/frameskipq. The show is typically live on YouTube every week, either on Tuesday or Wednesday. You can find our YouTube channel at bit.ly/frameskiplive. Don't forget to subscribe and be notified when we do go live, typically at about 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time.